Alright, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Geek Centurions. It's me, your boy Eli.
It's me, Joe.
And we're here to talk about some interesting things and things that we didn't get a chance to talk about. Essentially, talk about, is there too much stuff to watch out for
Yeah,
in geek media?
Yeah, I think you're talking about a bit of a content overload. Like, is there just way too much stuff happening to keep up?
Is there
with?
not enough stuff to keep up with?
Yeah, because I mean, to be fair, I think that's been a conversation that, while not like super, I guess, mainstream, it's certainly a thing that like people have brought up about certain things about, especially with the MCU, right? Because I mean, look at the MCU right now, right? We get like what 3 Marvel movies a year, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, and that's not even including some of the other stuff, like say that Sony does or whatever with Venom or other movies like that. Because this year we had Shang-Chi, we had the Eternals, and
Last year,
right? Yeah, I know. Yeah, 2021 we had Shang-Chi, we had Eternals, we had Spider-Man, and Black Widow was 2020, right?
yes.
Okay, just double checking, because
No. It was 2021.
really,
Yeah, remember 2020 was the year of no movies.
right? Yeah, because Black Widow was gonna come out in 2020, then they delayed it. So I mean, yeah, that was like 4 big Marvel movies in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, one of them was supposed to come out earlier, but still, that's just really crazy when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even mentioning like all the Disney Plus shows that they've both announced and showed. Like, there's a lot of content for like for the MCU, and
Not just the MCU, just anything in general.
yeah.
Because like right now, we've had, but DC's had good shows coming out. They had the new Young Justice show. Titans, I think, is getting another season. Same thing with Doom Patrol. And recently, Peacemaker came out, and also Star Wars with all of their stuff. I mean, we talked about Bad Batch, and looking back, I don't think that was such a good idea because Bad Batch didn't have a lot going on. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think it was a fine experience. I mean, it is getting a second season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely understand
Because right now we have Book of Boba, and it's teasing up for, and then we got Obi-Wan coming out, which of course we're gonna talk about, and then like
obviously Mandalorian season 3.
yeah, and then Ahsoka and all that other stuff. So there's a lot to follow, and not just in the films and TV show wise, and like even in anime wise, like right now the 2 biggest things that are going on in the world of anime is Demon Slayer season 2 and Attack on Titan the final season. And you and I just barely started watching Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Not in general. I'm saying the final season.
Yeah. So we are a little behind on that, but
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I think when it comes to anime, like, I mean, I think anime has I think a bigger problem in terms of like too much content.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like how much anime gets released every season, right?
Yeah.
There's like 10 plus different shows of anime. Just
Not to
popping up
mention
every
like
season.
like continuing seasons like say like it's a because the way anime tend to be structured is like 13 or 25 episodes, right?
Yes.
Most of them are tend to be 13 episodes for a season. Some of them go over because they're 25 episodes. And sometimes you're just like you just tend to miss out. Like apparently I not knew about this. There's like been 2 mech series that are really good, and I've heard of them, and I've never got a chance to see them. One of them is 86, and when I heard the description about it, oh, this is my kind of mech show. This is up in my kind of alley, and so I still haven't watched it because I can't keep track with all this anime. Because I also got to keep track with all this other shows for the podcast, and this reminds me back in the day, me and Kelvin were talking about it, and I think you were in the car this one time. You were like, man, I am glad we decided not to do like a weekly anime show.
Yeah.
Because there's too much.
Yeah, I think in terms of like when it comes to too much content. Like anime is definitely kind of there.
Yeah.
Because I swear, yeah, because I think I agree with that statement. Because there's probably like a ton of like animes that go under the radar because you get like one or two that are like the big ones. Obviously, this season is Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan.
And I think though the two other shows that are like from my radar of anime, right, that are like are talked about would be in the English in English it's called My Dress Up Darling, which is like a rom com, and I've read the manga and it's really good. And this other one called The Ranking of Kings. And it's just like looks like a really fun show. I haven't really checked that out, but if people like it, people like it.
Yeah,
And like the problem with that is especially if we were ever to do a weekly anime show, which I am thanking God that we don't, because for one, I'm kind of busy nowadays. You're busy nowadays. Kelvin is super busy. That's why you've never seen him around anymore. But he makes himself known when he has to, and he contributes the best way he can. So, like, we don't have time to watch all these animes.
yeah, it's probably, yeah, it is definitely a lot.
And like, I wanted to talk about Book of Boba and Peacemaker with you, but again, they're both coming out at the same time, and two, you didn't have the time to watch them.
No.
And I can just clear. I've seen both, and there's not enough stuff for me to talk about with both. I could have gotten Daniel, but he's also been busy. So it's not that we don't have time, is what I'm saying. And that is an issue, though. But we kind of have to like structure our things around like what would make the most sense.
Yeah, like what will work for an episode?
Yeah.
In our sort of crazy busy lives, and as well as like trying to like what shows have enough like sort of content to talk about. So yeah, like sometimes when it comes to shows that you got what makes them interesting to talk about is what happens, and like that helps create the content. Right? Like I definitely understand this is what your perspective when it came to Bad Batch, where you felt like because it was very episodic. Instead of like a sort of like strictly like narrative, like each episode continues further and further, so we could delve into stuff like say Watchmen, right? When we did Watchmen,
Oh, that was fun.
yeah, like with Watchmen, it was like every week it was like, all right, what's happening next? What are our theories? What's going on? That sort of stuff. What other show? WandaVision as well. Yeah, WandaVision. I think that was another one where we were sort of just like thinking like, okay, what's happening next here? And when it comes to like those sort of narrative kind of shows, right? Like we generally get a lot out of it when it comes to like making episodes. It's just like, okay, we know there's something to talk about that we can do at least 20 minutes or more of just like talking about, okay, this happened, what's gonna happen next. But with Bad Batch, it was like very much like all right, this thing happened, and we don't know if this is actually going to play much role into what's going to happen later on in the season, or this is just going to be like a one-off of that, like, hey, this is a nice little fun episode. So basically, episodic episodes, I think, they always been hard to do episodes on, just because it's like this thing happens, but we don't know if it's gonna factor in, and oftentimes we sort of can tell from like how the episode is structured, like, yeah, no, this isn't gonna
do anything for us.
Yeah, like it's not gonna really factor much into the story. It was very much a sort of like a, like they just got into a situation and it's an adventure, yeah. So I think I understand that, but at least with some of these other shows that are coming out, like something like Moon Knight, I think that's going to be very exciting to talk about.
Well, yeah, and it's just that because Moon Knight is such an interesting character that you kind of have to like, you want to see how they do that. He's a schizophrenic. He's a character with schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder, right? And they basically confirm, you're gonna see some of the more out there personalities. I mean, they just showed the suit, like the regular Moon Knight suit, They showed like using his Moonerang. That's what I'm gonna call it because I know this is an actual name, but I don't know at the top of my head. But have you seen some of the photos they released recently? They showed Mr. Knight, which is a personality, which is him in a suit, in an all white suit, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So we're going, how far is Disney gonna go, right? With Moon Knight, while with like say something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they kind of they had to like be on tiptoes because they talked about a lot of stuff, but they never really like paid off a lot of it.
Yeah, like I mean, obviously we did have that scene with John Walker, killing that guy with the shield, and while yes, the kill was off screen. You got the context of it because obviously you saw the blood on the shield and everything, and the reactions of everyone. They were able to get around that because usually fairly quick. But yeah, I definitely understand what you mean by that. But yeah, because I mean, yeah, it's just very interesting when it comes to like a lot of the content coming out because there is like only so much time in the world, and our attention spans aren't, like, you're always moving on to the next big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously when we talk about anime, like, it's very hard to keep up with a lot of things.
Yeah.
And granted, like, there's probably a good amount of seasonal anime that's just trash, that, like, is just there to be there.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, but when it comes to the other side of the media shape, right, with the Marvel and DC shows and movies and all that stuff.
Dude, you would have loved Peacemaker. I'm telling you this right now. It's if you love the way James Gunn does those characters, you'll love that one. And like it's a fun like violent romp. It's a violently good time.
All right.
But yeah, no, like you're right. Like even then, like it's still so much to follow.
Yeah, and I think sort of that brings up a question of like, is this like is it a good thing or a bad thing that we have this much content, especially when it comes to like stuff based off of like off comic books and like I guess other geek media stuff. Like is it a good thing that we've entered this sort of like content like explosion? Because I mean
I would say no. It's not a bad thing because it's great that we have all of these. I think in terms of what in our situation, it's that man, we are not gonna get to everything.
Yeah,
and we're just gonna have to acknowledge that. And there are some things that we might not, we'll have fun watching it ourselves because chances are we're not gonna be talking about like Young Justice.
Nah, I don't think we would. On the show.
Yeah, because for one, it was never really your show.
No, I mean I was never really that into it. Like I get the reason why people liked it and stuff, but I was just sort of like, it's whatever.
But I enjoyed the hell out of the show.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, and you were one of the people that were excited that it was getting renewed or whatever on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm. And like then there's also like Book of Boba, which is like kind of like just there, and the way I've always described Book of Boba is like it's a filler season from an anime. It's a Naruto filler. Because like cool stuff happens and stuff will inevitably lead on to the next season of Mandalorian, but it's also like, man, did I really need that? Did I really need that moment? I wish it was more centered around Boba Fett, but nothing was going on for Boba. And that's my 2 cents on the show.
Right.
And like even in the films, chances are there's gonna be some movies that we want to watch and we would love to talk about, but chances are we're not gonna get to there. And some movies that I already know someone in this room is not gonna watch.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I'm committed to my stance on not watching a Morbius movie. I still think it's dumb.
Don't care if it's good.
Yeah, don't care if it's good. I out of principle, I'm not watching it. Just like out of principle, I didn't watch Transformers 4 or 5. Because at the time I was just like, nope, I'm not dealing with this. I was like, even because I remember when Transformers 4 was coming out and the trailers and stuff, and it was like it had Dinobots and whatever. I was like, thinking like at the time, like I'm not watching another Transformers Michael Bay movie, even if they had Dinobots. And then they added the Dinobots, and I was like, nope, still not doing it. Out of principle, I will not, spend my good dollars on this, even if it will make money without my money. you know,
and you love the Dinobots.
I love the Dino. I love Grimlock. It's just such a great, just like the easiest, greatest concept in the world. You mix giant robots and dinosaurs and put them together. It's a robot that turns into a dinosaur. Like, literally prints money out of hands of, like, kids everywhere. That's, like, you combine the two greatest things that kids love, put it into one simple thing. And the Dinobots were always great. Granted, they're not, the best well-written characters, because Grimlock in the original show was just a dumb dude who just says, "Me Grimlock, smash," or whatever. He's like the equivalent of the Hulk, but like
dumber
and a bit kid friendly.
Mm-hmm.
All the Dinobots were, but I'm pretty sure like later incarnations and various expanded media did put a bit more spin on them, especially the Fall of Cybertron game, like giving them a more interesting origin about being experiments. Like, there are Autobots that were captured and experimented on by Shockwave. And, they have at least more defined, better personalities than just being big, dumb robots. And, I mean, having seen what they did with them in Transformers 4, I mean, I'm probably...
Well, by seeing, I think you mean, like, insinuating.
Yeah. Because, I mean, obviously I watched, like, probably, like, people talk about it on... like YouTube and stuff, and like reading synopses on Wikipedia and stuff. I know that what they did with the Dinobots is just more or less just kind of what I kind of figured. They were just
cool set pieces.
They're just used for cool set pieces. They didn't really have a character at all. They barely talked at all. They're just like ancient Transformers speaking ancient Transformers language.
Mm-hmm.
They're more, beasts. They were more.
They took the cool out of the cool.
I like I guess I like the designs a little bit, but it was very much. It's like,
yeah.
Not
that good.
Yeah, they really didn't do as well with them at all.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I didn't watch Transformers 5 because I was like, I freaking
refuse.
Yeah, I think most people refuse because that movie underperformed pretty well. I think it was like the lowest of the Transformers movies.
Mm-hmm.
Opening day, which led them to doing Bumblebee, and now they're sort of like pivoting to like using Bumblebee as not only as like a prequel but also as a reboot kind of.
I mean, they're making another Transformer movie centered around the Beast Wars show.
Yeah, I mean that definitely seems interesting,
And how's that gonna work out?
I don't know, because Beast Machines and Beast Wars has always been it was always kind of weird even when I was watching it as a kid, because the idea is that it's the Autobot. It's like it's in the distant future, right? Of these Autobot and Decepticon battles, but they're not called the Autobots and Decepticons anymore because they land on Earth in the distant past.
Caveman times.
Yeah, and use and the Decepticon inserts become the
Predacons.
The Predacons, and they're like various predatory animals. I mean, This Megatron is like a T-Rex, which is cool.
Not like Grimlock.
Not like Grimlock exactly, but he is a T-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
He turns into a T-Rex, and then the Autobot stand-ins are the Maximals, and you got Optimus Primal, who's a gorilla. But yeah, I mean, Beast Wars has always been freaking weird, like just so weird. Especially because it was one of the first 3D animated shows probably at the time.
Yeah, I think it was made a reboot.
Yeah, and it looks weird. It doesn't really hold up nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right.
I mean, the story wise, probably is all right. I don't know. I haven't rewatched it, but just like looking at images and stuff, like, yeah, that animation doesn't hold up well. But whatever. I do say that. I mean, when it comes to the Transformers, it is kind of interesting how they're. At the time, it was, like we got a lot of content explosion from the Transformers media, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when the movie came out, we also had that the Transformers animated show. If you remember that.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one. That was a weird one.
I mean, it was interesting because it was more like it's the Autobots, but like Optimus, instead of being like the Optimus that we know, he's kind of like a rookie. That was kind of interesting to see. Although it does take a weird direction with one of the main human characters in like the third season or whatever, if you remember that.
Yeah, no, that's why I was like, that's a weird show.
Yeah, it definitely takes a weird turn.
But anyways, back to our big conversations. Like, there's a lot to follow. Even now, like, I think it. Like, I'm not saying we're not gonna do these episodes. I'm not. But the thing is, there are times where we have to like admit, okay, which one are we not gonna do and which one are we gonna do? Because like I said, I wanted to do Peacemaker. Peacemaker was a great show. Would have been great for us to talk about, but scheduling wise, no one can get together and like talk about it. So we had to go with some other ideas. By the way, Peacemaker is an awesome show. Go watch it. It's on HBO Max. Mm-hmm. Got renewed for a second season. John Cena did an awesome job, fantastic job, and yeah. Also, like, I mean, Moon Knight is going to be a no given because I think it's going to fit around our schedule. Mm-hmm. I mean, and there's also like things that we have to talk about because Batman's coming out. I don't know if we're going to be doing that one soon.
Yeah, the Batman movie.
Yeah,
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, good old Pattinson. And then when is Sonic 2 coming out? Because we do have to talk. We didn't do an episode on the first one, which by the way, me, Joe, and Kelvin talked about it. That was a great movie.
Yeah, I believe we did a Instagram story for that, if I recall.
Yeah, we did, and I was just like, oh wow, this is actually like a really surprisingly good film. I am very surprised.
It comes out in April 8th.
8th? Oh, that's not that far off.
Yeah.
Because we're going into March.
Yeah, February's coming to a close, and spring's starting up. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, what other Marvel stuff is coming out this year? Because I know Moon Knight is like the big one coming up soon.
Ms. Marvel, I think, is supposed to come out. Then She-Hulk. And even then, we still don't know anything about these shows.
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, I think we had like earlier this year was the first time we actually got to see an actual look at Moon Knight, because all we knew about it was just the title, what the title was, and that was it. And then we got like a full trailer. We get to see the Moon Knight costume and everything. And yeah, we don't even know how She-Hulk's gonna look, how they're gonna incorporate her into the MCU.
Are they gonna make her look big, a tall, green, buff, sexy lady? Death by Snoo Snoo?
I mean, Amazon. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, we don't know how that's gonna factor in. I forget what Marvel movies are coming out this year. Actually,
I can just look that up real quick.
Yeah,
Spider-Verse 2 is coming out this year.
Yeah, the next Into the Spider-Verse movie. Yeah, that's also gonna be a big one. Yeah, it does seem like we're gonna have ourselves a bit of a busy time this year with a lot of things, and I don't necessarily blame, because I do
Love and Thunder.
Right, Love and Thunder.
Multiverse of Madness that comes out.
Yeah, I forgot Multiverse of Madness comes out this year.
And
well.
Wakanda Forever, which I'm like, I forgot. And Flash 2.
Right, the Flash movie.
Black Adam.
Right.
Aquaman 2.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely be busy this year, but I mean, I definitely agree. While it is not a necessarily bad thing that we, as people who like this sort of media, are getting all this interesting stuff, when it comes to us trying to like cover this and like talk about what we think about these shows, we're not gonna get to everything. And just because we don't get to something doesn't mean like, oh, we didn't like it, right? Because like you heard say, like, Peacemaker is a good show. Go watch it. I haven't seen much of it. I only seen clips of stuff, and I do think it is funny. I liked how John Cena called Batman a pussy. But yeah, it's all kinds of good, and just because we didn't cover it didn't mean that we didn't find it interesting enough to cover it. It's just that we didn't really have the time or scheduling to get people who wanted to like it talk about it.
Yep.
And I think that's sort of the main point of this video is that
yeah, because there's really not much for us to talk about. It's just acknowledging, like, hey, sometimes we can't get to everything. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. And, like, sometimes we have to, like, fall on our sword and admit we can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm with you. I'm probably not going to watch Morbius. I'll probably watch it through other means, but I'm not going to watch Morbius. Because I don't think that's going to be a good movie. I don't care what you guys say. I don't think it's going to be a good movie. Show me all the awesome movie posters, yeah, but I don't think it's going to be a good movie. And, like, there's even, like, stuff within the anime. Like, I want to talk more about, like, some anime stuff, because I think that's one of the categories that we don't talk about as much. And I feel like it would be so cool to talk about it more, but we don't have the time. Or the not the patience, but, like, the the idea of how to go about it. And, like, I want to talk more about comics, just general comics. But again, I don't know if we'll be able to get to it because, like, one, we are in how do we go about that, and, like, how do we go forward with it. And so there's gonna be stuff that we can't cover. And like I said, it's not we will be covering stuff. There's no doubt about that. But it's also one of the things where, like, we have to admit to ourselves that we might not be able to cover everything. And, like, there's just a lot of stuff. I've known even YouTubers are like, yeah, we're probably not going to get to that anytime. Like, and other content creators that do the stuff that we kind of do haven't even gotten it. I know, like, people are like, yeah, I have the people, like, who do comic book channels. I was like, yeah, I haven't watched Eternals yet, and they've watched it and they didn't give their thoughts on it, and they're just like, it was a good movie. That was it. They didn't give their whole in depth thoughts like we do when we saw Eternals, which, again, I think we both agreed, not the worst movie.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, I mean, I would kind of get why some people don't like it, but I don't. I personally wouldn't see it as, like, the worst thing Marvel has put out on film. I still think something like Thor: The Dark World still sort of beats it out in that term of, like, being considered the worst Marvel movie. But yeah, yeah, it is sort of we are sort of kind of not necessarily in a rut, but more sort of like there's a lot of things we need to pick and choose which ones are going to be the most interesting for us to talk about that fit within our schedules at the moment. And if we don't get to something, we just don't get to it. We'll probably mention it a little bit, just like, hey, we like this, hey, we didn't like it. And maybe if there's ever a moment where we have an extended amount of free time, we go back on it. I don't know. But yeah, that is sort of our sort of, I guess, closing thoughts of, like, is there a content overload? Maybe. Is it a bad thing? No, not really. Does it affect how we make the show and, like, pick and choose what we decide is a good topic or to discuss and, like, watch and stuff? Yeah.
I think that's the best way to close it. And again, like I said, we will get to some of them, and if we don't, we're sorry. Just how it is. There's a lot of stuff to cover, and it's a thing that we have to admit. Anyways, guys, that's been the episode. If you enjoyed what we talked about, thank you. You can follow us on any social media outlets that we have currently: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Geek Centurions. We're most active on our Instagram, where you'll find a link to all of the podcasts that we're officially part of, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, Castbox, all that good stuff. And we have a link to the YouTube where all you audio listeners out there who want to put a face to the voice, you can find us at like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. And if you enjoy what we do, support us on our Patreon, where you can where one small help is good enough for any of us. And yeah, that should be good. It's been a real quick talk.
Yeah.
Which I always enjoy. Anyways, guys, have a good one. It's been your boy Eli.
Give me Joe.
You guys have a good one. Peace.